All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you. All right. Thanks for those of you that are here. And um, those that are about to get online. All right. This meeting is being recorded. At least my part is being recorded for posterity's sake. So anyway, we're in this meeting today because of I really believe that God has given us, a new approach to church attendance. Not church attendance, doing church. And like I've been saying, it's not really new. I feel like this has been placed in my spirit like 15 years ago when I started preaching, when I started pastoring the church. The problem is, and Joe, you know this, is that we were so grown up, we grew up in such an element of tradition that to do anything opposite of what everybody else was doing was tantamount to, what do you call that? No, tantamount to being like, you're not living for God anymore. You're not a Christian anymore, So, I fought all this time, but God has always placed in me. And one of the effects, hey Dan, one of the effects that I seen it really is this model that I try to teach all of us. I try to bring to all of us. I'm using a microphone because we're recording online. So, this model of church and the way I do the leadership, where I allow people to really partner up with me as opposed to me telling people what to do. I did that for a while. The first group that was here, that's what I did. I mean, I was authoritarian. It had to be done my way. Pretty much, I was pretty much a dictator, and there was good effect, but it wasn't my personality type. It wasn't me, and you guys know me. Imagine me trying to make people do theirs. I'm just not that authoritarian. I just don't do that. And so, for a long time, I feel like God had been placing this kind of like, it's okay to be different. It's okay to walk in the way I called you to walk. It's okay to do what I called you to do. And just years and years for God to do that. And I dealt with a lot of guilt, a lot of religious guilt, a lot of traditional guilt. And I'm thankful for you guys, because you don't have to journey that journey with me and be part of that guilt-ridden place. So when we started the Cycle Breaker series, something really was like, I'm preaching mind this, mind that, or mind it, and have you change your mind, or for a new mind makes a new man. So I had to think, okay, we can't keep talking about cycle breakers. We've been going at this thing over and over again for so long. We're going around in circles. We got to do something different ourselves. And if you guys read my blog, I like encourage everybody. You would know that the Genesis, well, not the Genesis, but one of the predisposing event to where I'm at in my thinking today was a couple of weeks ago. I was listening to Elevation Channel that Danny turned me on in Roku, and I was listening to Stephen Furtick's one of his campus pastors, and they talked about the 4 things that they did, but reality, what hit me was their participation model. But instead of participation model, I received this a partnership model. And so we're gonna talk about it tonight a little bit and give you guys kind of like the heads up for it. So there is the partnership model versus the membership model. The partnership model and the membership model are all deal with people. They're pretty much the same when it comes to what we're dealing with. It's people. When it comes to church, it's about in gathering people, bringing people together, having a group of people, having people around. But there are differences between membership versus partnership that I outline. Yeah. Let's see. It probably needs to load. It's there. We're on. Yeah. So we're, in my blog, you will know the difference between partnership and membership. The idea is really partnership is just like a business, okay? In a business, you and I, if we were partners, we have investments in the company. We have a share of the burden of the company. We have the reward of the growth of the company. We have something. I'm losing my train of thought. We have something vested in the company. We have something vested. So all of us are part of what's happening. Membership is there's a group of people, which is the current church model. A lot of churches still do. There's a group of people that kind of make up the laws, make up the rules, make up all this stuff, and then disburse it to the members, and the members have to just go and eat it, whatever it is, and then they participate or they cooperate with whatever the leadership is, depending on how good the member is. The partnership model is different. Partnership model, everybody has the right to ministry, and everybody has the right to bring concepts to the table. And yes, there is going to be a leadership group. Yes, there's going to be people that are going to do the leaders, but they are not the ultimate say. The cause, what is needing to be done, is ultimately the top. In a membership model, the leader is the one that's exalted. In a partnership model, it's the cause that is exalted. It's the reason why we're here, why we do what we do. And that's what I've been doing, but I just didn't know about it. I mean, we all know this, that I like the little conflict that we have, like different ideas and things of that nature, just because it's not leader-based. For me, it's not about me. It's about what we're trying to do, right? When we come here, it's not about coming to Pastor Jones' meeting. It's coming together so that we can come together and do something with what God is wanting us to do, all right? It's not about, Pastor Jones, before it used to be, PJ, if I'm not there and PJ is there, I'm in trouble. It's not that. If you're not here, you cannot be part of the discussion that we're trying to do and trying to bring the kingdom of God forward. Okay, so in this partnership model, right, and I want to really encourage everybody to read that blog, because then you'll understand what I'm talking about. And for us to understand what I'm talking about, is help us define what I mean when it's talking about partnership, especially to those of us that are currently leading. All right. So the partnership model is spirit-led, passion-based, and purpose-driven. All right. Spirit-led, passion-based, purpose-driven. And I got a whole lot of stuff I put on the blog, so I'm not going to break it down here. But the partnership model that we're going to talk about, every time you hear we're partners, I want not only us right now, but everybody in the church. Our thought has got to be we're spirit-led, we're passion-based, and we're purpose-driven. I'm on the microphone, Vlad, because we're broadcasting. I just don't want you to feel like Pastor Jones just wants to be on the mic all the time. Jones just likes the mic a lot. That's not the case. All right. So anyway, when we are talking about the new model of church, when we're talking about the new model of church, Vlad, when we're talking about the new model of church, this is what I mean when we talk about partnership model. We're spirit-led, we're passion-based, and we're purpose-driven. So if somebody says, what kind of church are you guys a part of? We're spirit-led, we're passion-based, we're a purpose-driven church. We're a purpose-driven group. We're a spirit-led group, purpose-based group, a passion-based group, purpose-driven group. How do you do church? We do church spirit-led. We allow the Spirit of God to lead us. And that manifests to the needs that are in the church. Okay? It makes sense? When you're being led by the Spirit, there's a need that arises. Okay? Passion-based is the things that move us. If I give you two things, Joe, would you rather walk? Would you rather do this? Or would you rather do that? And you go, well, I really like A and B. Okay, if you like both A and B, what would you rather do? And you pick whatever it is that you pick. That most likely is due to your what? Your passions, due to your desires, due to the things that motivate you, that operate you. And passion-based is personality also, is personality, what do you call it? Personality suited. It's personality. Your personality is part of your passion. You know what I'm saying? Your personality reflects your passions. All right, so that's what I meant. Purpose-driven, and purpose-driven is just, this is why we're doing it. It's not just for nothing. This is why we're doing it. I'm going to break it down, okay? And this meeting that we're holding here is to give those of us that are right now in the immediate circle of leadership, okay? Because when we say immediate circle of leadership, this is the core leadership. We're branching out, okay? And the reason why I'm bringing it to you guys first is because it's not necessarily going to be this way, but you most likely will head the teams that fall into certain purposes and certain categories and certain things. And you've got to go and take a look. Now, because we're going to be passion-based, if you are only passionate about a certain thing, and you don't have to do any of this stuff, we are no longer, because it's passion-based, we're no longer making people do what we need them to do. We're gonna allow people. See, there's a difference, right? We're not gonna make people do what we think they need to do. We're gonna allow them to do what they'd like to do. Very different model, very different thought process. It's a lot. This is our church already. Actually, we try to do the membership model. The way our congregation, the way we are as a group of people, is very much against you. You're just like kicking against the pricks because people are like, no, I don't really want to do that. You're just kind of like, come on, but you need to. You're like, all right, and it doesn't get done well. That's the problem with membership models that are not passion based. The only way things get done is either you pay them or you enslave them. You know what I mean? You gotta like beat them up and just be like a slave driver. But we don't want to be. Christ gave us freedom, so we want to be that group. Amen. You liking this so far? Okay. So let's go deeper. All right, spirit-led teams, spirit-led, need-based teams. This is some of the teams that we're going to be working at. Right now, there's 20 of them. We got the greeting, the parking, the welcome, the start, and the finish team. And I've kind of put them all in groups now, but I'm going to look for you guys to help see if I got everything where it needs to be. I got production, music, worship, arts, and creative group teams. Then we have connections, commitments, community, celebrations, and communion teams. And we got the kids, the youth, the enlistment, finance, and communications. What does all that mean? Okay. So right now, each and every team represented on the screen represents spirit-led or need-based teams. Okay, we believe that when the Spirit wants us to do something, it's going to come up as a need. Would you agree with that's okay? That's okay. That's an all right statement. If you feel like the Spirit is leading you to do something, there's a need that will arise, right? So spirit-led teams are need-based teams. Okay, so firstly, we got the greeting, the parking, the welcome, the start, finish. I don't know what to call it. Actually, maybe it's just going to be called the greeting team, whatever. The go. Yeah, there you go. The go group. Okay, the go group. And what it is that the greeting is not unlike our ushers, but it's different. All right. What I envision greeting is a group of people who are passion-based, and we'll talk about the passions that I think people need to have. I got a list. I put a list of one passion is just meeting new people. Just like to meet new people. I love meeting new people. Somebody like to meet new people, you're going to be part of our greeting team. People that don't like to meet new people, you want to work with people that you know already, we'll keep you in that. But the greeters, gotta like to meet new people, okay? So, greeting team. So there's going to be, and I told this already, there's going to be like a table out there with some of our information, some water, candy maybe, and just somebody just shaking people's hands saying, oh, welcome, welcome, God bless you. Then the greeters can also have, they will set up the signs, all right? There will be a greeter at the corner of the end of the street, at the corner at Father Capodanno and Sand Lane, the corner of McLean and Sand Lane, and even as many corners that we can fill depending on how large the team we want to build. And just to drum up, and I put this down on an Excel sheet, so I'll show it to you on the next subsequent meeting. The parking team, that's what it is. You know. So you have to find parking. You have to create opportunities for people to park. And also, for where we're at now, then communicate to maybe the restaurant here or some of the places that actually have parking to see if we can use their parking. When we do have that opportunity to use people's parking, then there will be parking attendants there. People that will lead people to parking and then bring them to the greeting team. Then the welcome team is different, is that once they come in now, they're inside. The welcome team is the inside. They're handing out connect cards, connection cards. They're sitting them. They're giving them gifts or what have you. All right. They're giving first timers. It's about first timers talking about, all of that stuff. Then the start team is about the environment, making sure the chairs are aligned, making sure the spot cleaning. This is not the cleaning crew. They're the start team. They make sure everything is cleaned up, make sure the barista, the coffee is up, so forth and so on. And the finish team just does the same thing except undo. Sorry.
Remember, you have the Spanish and other services back to back.
Yeah, so that would be like there would be a start team or a finish team for each one. All right, and for those that are for the communities of faith that are using our building, then we would set up somebody to make sure that happens, and we'll talk to them about that. All right, so that's what it is. So pretty much, would that be okay to put them in that category? I think that's a pretty good category because they kind of really work hand in hand.
Yeah. Start finish team, would that be the same team?
No, it would be two different teams. It can be the same.
Or same individuals?
It could be the same individuals, okay, but not necessarily. What we want to do is create opportunities to serve, also to partner with us, create opportunities of partnership. We would rather see people partner with us than just sit down and take a seat. I'm looking because there's a principle. I forget the principle. Pareto principle? I don't know. The 80 people, 20% of the work is done by, 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. I think it's Pareto principle. I forget. I think that's what it's called. So anyway, we want to flip that. We want to do 80% and then 20% if they're just, people that just, well, we don't want that. Listen, I was listening to Andy Stanley's message. Andy Stanley pastors one of the largest churches in Staten Island. Not in Staten Island, in Atlanta, in America, 30,000 or so. Every year he does this message. It's an engagement message. It's a series engagement, which we're gonna do. We're gonna call it partnership, partnership services. But at the end of his series, the first time I heard it, it was incredible. I was like so blown away. He goes, so he talks about all the serve teams, all the people that are serving, all the people that are participating in what they're doing, all that stuff. And he goes, if you're here and you've been here for 3 years, and you've not served, and you've not been a part of what we're doing to do, what we're trying to do, we need your seat. We need your seat. There are people that are wanting to be part of this church, and you're taking their spot. I was so blown away. I was like, wow. But that's kind of the model that we want. We don't want people to just feel like, oh, I'm just going to hang out there and I'm going to let 6 people do the work. No. We believe that God called us all, right? Would you agree with that? To the kingdom, to build the kingdom together, not to just sit down and take a seat. Okay? Anyway, then production, music, worship, production is about the cameras and because as we grow, there's going to be more than one camera, and it's not going to be just standing still the way it is now. It's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. So we need a production team. Music is not the musicians. The music team sets up. They're the stagehand. The production team is part of the lighting. They're part of the lighting. They're part of the sound. The production, yeah, correct. Lighting, all of that stuff. The music, and this is not all defined yet, but it'll get there. The music is to check tuning, make sure it's tuned, make sure all the sound is correct, make sure the area is good. It is there to help the worship team do ministry.
I would need that those that are part of the music would need to know what to tune.
Correct.
Because if you go and tell me to tune this, I'll tune it. It won't be right. So they would have to have some knowledge of.
Correct. It's got to be people who love music and who want to be around musicians. There's the people, okay?
If they're tuning, like say the guitar or the whatever it is, usually it's guitar or the drums, whatever, would they be working with the production team that's working on the soundboard?
Yeah, correct. We'll work on it. I have it here defined, but I'll do that in a later time when we break down the teams.
The sound people are fixing the sound and the tuning people are tuning the equipment at the same time to make sure that they're getting this.
Yeah, so yeah, they're tuning it, making sure everything, and then they're probably, the way it is, they're probably going to be part of the worship band, but they don't serve worship at that time. It's a different period. Maybe they switch around. Okay. Let's say for the morning service, tunes for the afternoon, or the afternoon guys, tune for the morning guys. Whatever, they're part of that music team, okay? Then the worship is the worship team, okay? The band members, all of that stuff, okay? The arts department is different. We're talking about creative arts. We're talking about plays. We're talking about photography, correct? All this stuff. Creative teams, so I have it broken down. And we'll talk about the teams later in a more. All right, I'm just giving you an overview. The connections team creates connections. They are going to be the people that are actually going to generate and create and organize small groups. So these are not just these are leaders that are building teams, that are building small groups in and around the community, creating and generating, making sure it's ongoing, making sure it's happening all the time. Commitment teams, these are people, because then we're gonna preach now. What we're gonna do is we're gonna preach, and I'm thinking about kind of revamping the way we have been doing services. I'm thinking of putting the tithes and offering, and we'll discuss this. I put it up, tithes and offering, just right after the worship, just before the last song. Yeah, we have that. And because what I want to do is at the end, there's a purpose for what I'm doing.
Remember why we stopped doing announcements and tithes and offering before preaching? Because Celisa felt that breakup was hard to bring back
It's doing that.
the move of
Your
God,
announcements?
and you wanted a song before preaching to pep everyone. Like the hearts and spiritual.
The thing about it is this, is that, well, we'll have to have a discussion on that. This is not the thing for it. But anyway, the commitments team are people that they're not unlike the welcome team, who take information and things like that. But the commitment teams take the information of those that make commitments to Christ. And then they are there to help them the first starters take the next step. So they're the ones that move them from acceptance to the alpha beta classes.
So it's pretty much like the teachers.
They're not necessarily, no. They're not. There are people there are detailed oriented record keeping people that just say, okay, then they create that environment. No, the commitment team takes. Let's say you made a commitment to the Lord. This is what I'm thinking. You made a commitment to Jesus. Okay, for those who here said that prayer for the very first time, I want to raise your hand. Let me count 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, everybody raised their hand, right? Like, all right, we got our commitment team coming to you, and so I'm taking your name now. All right, praise God, and then giving you, if you can, opportunity to meet the commitment team, which probably will encompass the alpha and beta teachers, right? But they are not the ones teaching. They are the ones taking the information and giving them a call and sending them to the classes. Yeah.
Like the registrar office.
Correct. They're kind of like enrollment people. Okay, they're the commitments team. All right, the community team is our outreach team. We're calling them community because they're going out to the community. They're building those. They are bridge builders to church and community. Okay, so benevolence group, so forth and so on. All right, the celebrations team. That's what it sounds like. They just find ways to celebrate. They celebrate the first time guests. They celebrate. They celebrate the graduates. They celebrate. It's a party. They're the party people of the church. They're creating celebrations. All right. Communion is what we're going to call the prayer team because they want us. The communion is to bring people to a level of communication with God. It's not just about praying. It's about bringing people to a different level. It's spiritualizing the church, keeping us in a spiritual mode. Does that make sense? Because we have celebration. We could turn into a party church, But the kind of like they're the yin and the yang, if we could call that. The communion, they're the ones that keep us communing with God. They're the ones that create what they're doing now, what Joe is doing now. Create prayer events, overnight prayer services, fasting times, all of this stuff. And as we grow, possibly even times of like going out into a campsite where it's just a prayer camp or whatever it is. They're the communion group. They're just praying people, sending people to. They probably will work with a connections group. They will have their own prayer groups, things of that nature, to bring other people. Does that make sense? Is that okay? All right. Then we got the specialized groups, the kids. The kids is not just the teachers. The kids are the ones, the kids ministry, the kids team are the ones that help the teachers facilitate what they're trying to do. Create the environment, the worship experiences for the children. Youth, the same thing, but a lot of the youth actually will probably break down and have their own kind of like this spirit-led teams. And as they grow, especially. Enlistment is as a team that generate people to enter teams. The enlistment team. They're constantly, any brand new person. The welcome team will give I feel like this is what we need to do. First timers get a very succinct, very right to the point list of teams. You can get involved right away. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait till next service. You can get involved right away. You want to get part, And a lot of people, will not get into deeper levels of the teams just because they're a little bit more complicated. So we don't have to worry about, how about somebody going to the wrong team? Hey, if our team leader is there, we got nothing to worry about. Yeah, correct. If somebody comes in the first time, I want to be part of the communion team. Well, Joe is the leader already. A brand new person in, that's fantastic. First time and wants to join prayer? Dude, let's get it on. Does that make sense? All right. So the enlistment teams constantly talks about teams, constantly generating excitement about getting involved in the team, constantly getting excited, constantly talking to the team leaders. What do you guys need? How many people do you need? They're constantly looking at the new people. Where are your passions? What are your passions? We'll probably create a passion-based questionnaire for the newcomer. What's your passions? And then they check that off. These are my passions. Would you like to be involved in a team? And then the enlistment group will call them. I saw your passions. We got a great place for you, so forth and so on. Right in between the services. And a newcomer comes in, and they already have something to do or to be a part of the next service. If they don't want to, that's fine. Then what we'll probably do is create every month would be a kind of like this, what I'm talking about now. What it means to be spirit-led, passion-based, purpose-driven. That kind of conversation we'll do. Probably part of our newcomers.
Alpha Beta.
Yeah, kind of like that. Alpha Beta. We might add something where it's kind of okay. First Sunday, it's going to be what we believe in. Second Sunday, it's about how how you can get involved. Third Sunday, so forth. We'll do something like that. So every Sunday there's something going on. Pastor Tony does something like that at Tapestry. It's called Growth Track. All right, but he got it from the church in Alabama, and this is becoming organic. I'm sure it's being done someplace already, but for us, and I do better when I feel like it's my idea or the Spirit of God gave it to me. I do better because I connect with it better. All right, second. So now let's get to the purpose. Passion based.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Where those educational things like Bible studies, small groups?
Yeah. So those.
Is there a group for that, or is it something that's out of those groups that you come up with?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We're probably going to create a teaching team. The thing about these teams is that anybody can join it. The teaching, all of those higher level ones need to come out of that. These 20 teams can be filled by anybody and everybody. Those are just serve. They are passion based. They are serve teams. Anybody can do it. You don't have to have a level of understanding of the Bible. That's what we want anybody in the church to come in. You don't have to feel like you have to have a certain level of understanding about the Bible to participate in what we're doing, to partner with us. You don't have to have that. You could be an unbeliever, but you love shaking hands with people. God bless you. You know what I mean? That might sound crazy, like what? Hey, they're going to be part of the team. Somebody's over them. The great thing about this kind of team is that it generates in of itself a small groups mentality, right? It generates a small groups mentality. It creates community right away. Because now let's say Joe, his communion team, his prayer team are coming together, and before they do their thing, he comes and meets them on a Sunday morning. Hey guys, how's everything going? All right, we're going to be rocking today. I'm feeling God is going to do some great things. Hey, I need people to stand and we're going to be praying. Who's going to be our altar workers today? Who took the altar workers class that I gave out? So the lead guy is going to make sure that his team is informed and is knowledgeable about what we feel together they need to know, and they need to operate successfully. All right? Because it is passion based, and so we don't want people to be out of their passion. So we're going to tell them expectations. This is the great thing, and I was telling Danny, one of the blogs that I put, is that people would be surprised that the New Testament has more laws than the Old Testament. It's about 400 plus more laws. It's about 1,000. And not only that, the Old Testament, thou shalt not kill. In the New Testament, if you are angry with your brother without a cause, you're in danger of judgment. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Old Testament. New Testament, if you look at a woman, lust after her, you committed adultery already. That's pretty vicious. In the sense, I shouldn't use that word, but in the sense of the fact that it's a lot deeper because there's greater commitment. Because whereas there's grace where you can go from anywhere you want, but there's got to be expectations. Grace provides expectations. Now I could expect, okay, you're here. You don't have to be here. That's what grace says. You don't have to be here. But since you are, let's do this the way it needs to be done. You know what I mean? With that said, does that make sense? All right, so let's do this thing. Okay, where am I? Okay, passion-based, personality suited. All right, and I got some passion-based personality types here: friendly, outgoing, extroverted. We got creative, artistic, expressive. We got group, people that love groups, people that like one-to-one, personal, and people that love huge crowds. All right? There are different types of people. How many here like one-to-one? I like crowd. I like groups. I'm not much too, I get overwhelmed with crowds, but there are people that are driven by crowds. Like, I love it. All right? Then there's changer. And what I mean by changer, for instance, with the kids ministry, the kids team and the youth team requires a person that feels like they're called to change or to change the generation. All right? They're changers. All right? They want to speak to people and they want to make a change. Want to see youth give their life to Jesus. They want to change the generation. Self-starters, all right? People that just, that just self-start. You don't have to have anybody telling you what needs to be done. You see what needs to be done and you start it. Leader, people that like groups, that like to oversee groups. Then there's assertiveness, assertive people. Then we have persuasive, persistent, tenacious. And I couldn't remember the word tenacious. And then I started to think of Joe. I was like, what does Joe do? Because he's persistent and tenacious. That's a personality trait. And obviously, these kinds of people get things done. All right. Other ones: detailed, organized, operative. What do I mean by operative? People that like to oversee operations. All right. Because there's people that they're detailed, there are people that are organized, but then there are people that don't want to oversee it. They want to organize it, but you oversee it. You know what I mean? So operative, all right. Celebratory, fun-loving, and a gatherer. These are probably the connections people. Probably need to be gatherers. We like to bring people together. There's a passion-based people. Can you see yourself in some of these? Yeah, Aaron is ready to join a team. He's ready to lead his team. He's ready to lead a team. All right, here's another one. A bridger, a bringer, a builder, and a finisher. A bridger is somebody that wants the church to look good outside. They want to bridge the community with the church. That's a bridger. All right. A bringer is constantly wanting to fill seats. Come on, bringer. Because now remember, partnership and membership, there are different. Members come, partners bring. So every partner is a bringer. Because you can't be a partner of the church and not bring somebody to grow the church. It's kind of ridiculous. At least once, twice. But there are people that are really bringers. They just, any chance they can, they want to bring people. So these are giftings. Not only are they passion-based, but these are giftings. All right? Builders, they are teachers. They want to build the next generation. They want to build. They're mentors. People builders. We're not talking about building builders. We're talking about people builders. There's people that organize. There's people that are tenacious, people that are persuasive and all that stuff. But they're not yet in that area. You know what I mean? But then there are people that are maybe are builders, but they lack in certain areas. All right? But if you put people in front of them, they'll take their book knowledge, they'll take their passion, they'll take and try to build people. All right? Then the finishers. We need that in this church. We need closers. We need closers in this church. We need closers. People that look at the building and be like, all right, we need this finished. We need that finished. All right? Somebody that look at something and be like, all right, everything's good, but it's not finished. A finisher. Not only is a finisher like completion, but somebody that likes to polish things. That's really nice, but let's polish it. These are creative folks. You know, these are a lot. It's good, right? Some good stuff right there. I want you guys to take a look at that. All right? These are all positive personality, passion-based things. So these are the kind of teams, these are the kind of people we're looking at. All right? No dead, dull, boring. Take a seat, stand in the corner. Want active, creative, non-passive people. And we're not talking about loud. It didn't say loud, boisterous. No. You could be quiet and be tenacious. You don't have to be loud and be tenacious. You don't have to be loud and be persuasive. All right. So we're going to purpose-driven. And the Lord gave this to me earlier today. Okay? These are the 4 purposes. And you guys got to listen to this. These are the 4 purposes. Because we're purpose-driven. We're our spirit-led, right? What? Passion-based, purpose-driven. There are only 4 purposes that we're going to, at least for now, that we're going to look at building. All right? I think everything that we'd like to do is based on these 4 purposes. Why do we have a greeting team and a welcome team and a parking team? It generates expectation. When you pass by the church and all this stuff, people are greeting you, people are shaking your hand, people are leading you to a parking spot. What does it do? Dude, what kind of church is this? There's an expectation now for something awesome. So when I say, okay, those of you that are in the greeting team, your purpose is to generate expectation. You know what generates expectation? Impressions. First impression generate expectations. Am I correct? If I see you the first time I see you, if you're nice in a suit, my expectation of you is, wow, this guy's going to be good. If you come early, my expectation of you, because that's your first impression, my expectation is you, oh, he's punctual, blah, 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 blah. You come late, it don't matter how good you look, my expectation is shot. Even if something else happened to you, if you got stuck in the freeway, not the freeway, we don't have freeways here, right? If you got stuck in the highway, but you're normally punctual, you're normally on time, you're normally and you're late, I have different expectation than what you normally are. And the problem with that is that when we set up an expectation, we'll either have to fill it or we'll either have to undo it. Joe was saying there are some things in the building that are not done, not finished, right? There's an impression being said. When people see that, there's an impression. First timers see an impression, they have an expectation. I don't think these people, or I think these people are. Now, the thing about it is that we have some other things happening correctly that are on this purpose-driven thing that can outdo the expectation. And in fact, it surprises them. People are surprised. Somebody came this Sunday, and thank God they were really impressed and encouraged that they were able to vocalize something to me. And they said, when you came in here, there's nothing there that said I was welcome to come. You heard that, Dan? It was. We need that. We need those people. I spoke to his son, and I was like, we need those people to vocalize what they see. Because we have to know. When I came in there, there's nothing there that says I was welcome to come. The sign was above. I didn't know if it was open. I didn't know nothing. But when I came in, I don't want to leave. Why? Because we blew away his expectation. Because of the first impression. But how about if we create a first impression that generates an expectation that we actually meet. And just for the sake of sounding like a poet, then there's going to be an explosion. Impression, expectation, explosion. Right? If people come in, wow, this church is gonna, wow, I gotta buckle my seat here. They're gonna blow me away. And they come in, the worship is great, like preaching is. That's it. They're not gonna be a partner. Am I right? They're gonna be a partner. So, the purpose is when we as team leaders, right now, for now anyway, we're looking at team leaders. We as team leaders, this is why we have the teams. So we say, oh, welcome team, greeting team. First, the go group, the go team. You guys are the go team and you're broken down into 5 teams. The go team, your job is to generate expectations. Create first impression that generate positive expectations. So number 1, is this okay? Okay. So the second one, the purpose is to create environment. Now, environment is very important. And we all know this. Just the way we've changed the physical environment has changed the expectation. Right? Creating environments, clean environments. The cleaning group, the start and the finish team, creating an environment. You know what else? The worship team creates an environment. They create an environment of worship. Right? The teachers create an environment of learning. That's our purpose. I'm here. The team is here to create an environment. An environment of worship, an environment of learning, an environment of friendship, an environment of whatever it is. It creates an environment where people, an inviting environment. And the second one is setting the atmosphere. Okay? We set the atmosphere by our attitudes, by our joy. This is behavior based. This is expression based. We set the atmosphere. How do you set the atmosphere? The kind of music, the kind of people, the kind of greeting. Hey, how are you? Set the atmosphere. Well, prayer sets the atmosphere. Right? So that's purpose. Then the last one is provide an experience. Ultimately, our church, we want people to leave not going to church, but having an experience with God and with the community of faith. What a great experience I have. Okay, so this pretty much ends what I'm talking about. Okay, so we are. Let me put that up again. I want to keep it there. All right. So generate expectations. So for those of us that are going to be leading teams, we're going to be talking about that. We are spirit-led, passion-based, purpose-driven. All right? And our purpose team is to create and generate expectation for everybody that is here. When people come, we want them to see an impression, because the first impression or the impressions that they receive from the people out there generates an expectation. Everybody ought to be helping us to generate a positive expectation of the church. The teams, they're different. They're going to be purposed differently. Creating an environment where there's flow. We talked about what is that word we say? No distraction environment, distraction-free environment. Create that environment. They want to set the atmosphere in prayer, worship, in friendliness, in welcoming experiences. People just joyful, just real. Set the atmosphere. And at the end of it all, the worship team is there to create an experience. I'm there to create an experience. I'm preaching. I'm there to create an experience. Right? I mean, the atmosphere is set. The worship sets the atmosphere. All the other teams, the cleaning group and all the other teams create an environment. The music group, the production team create an environment. The production team creates an atmosphere with the lighting and the volume. Our welcome teams, our go teams, our people that are shaking hands with people and loving on people are generating expectation. Now it's the job of the worship team and the job of the preacher and the job of the prayer group, of the communion team to provide an experience. And I think we are poised. This model helps us into an area not only of effectiveness, but of growth. What do you guys think? Aaron?
So, for generating expectations, if we were to generate a negative expectation of the church, and like you said, if we were to undo it, how would we go about doing it?
Well, but one of the difficult things about expectations, if it's a negative expectation, is that then our environments have got to be different than what they're expecting. So, for instance, from outside, it doesn't look like much, right? But when you come in, the environment is like, whoa, this place is pretty hip.
The expectation was negative, but the experience was positive.
Correct. So the expectation was negative, but when they came in, the environment, we've created an environment where it feels like, hey, you're welcome here. And you can worship wherever you want. It's, and then the atmosphere is set, and then the preaching and the worship is such a great experience that expectation kind of falls down, that negative expectation. Now, next week is now a positive expectation. The problem is, Aaron, is that we are trying to win the first time comer, the second time, but we're trying to win the person that hasn't come through the door because they don't know the environment. They don't know the atmosphere. They don't know the experience yet. Right now, they're just working on expectation, and their expectation is not a good one.
They don't know what to expect. That's the whole
You know
thing.
what? From the outside, it looks like nothing is
But they don't know
going
what to
on.
expect.
I mean, it's not welcoming. You're right.
Yeah, I mean,
If we had a group outside, standing outside, shaking hands, handing out flyers, letting people know that something exciting is happening here, that something is going on that's worthwhile coming in and checking out. Which right now
correct.
we don't have.
if we have that, see the expectations, our community team sets an expectation. That's why our flyers have got to set an expectation. It's not just impression. We think, oh, we got to set an impression. No, impressions generate. That's pretty good, right? You gotta admit that's God, that's divine there, right? Am I right? So it's not just impressions. When your team go and pray, there's an expectation now. This church is a prayerful church. This church is wanting to meet my needs. Does that make sense? When we go out to the community and help the community, we set an expectation for us. And as partners in the church, as partners in what God wants to do, we have to create an expectation that Jesus loves them, that Jesus wants them here, so forth and so on. So our expectation, that's a very good question. Yeah, the only thing is going against that expectation, that no expectation, there's nothing to expect, or even a negative expectation coming from the outside. Because once they're in here, everybody has told me, everybody and their mother literally has told me, this church should be bigger. This church should be packed. So forth and so on. Because our environment is good. We need to work on it. Our atmosphere is fantastic. Okay? And the experience we provide is pretty good. Between the worship and the preaching. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but God has really directed my preaching into a great place where people get that experience. So this is it, guys. So what do you think?
It's good that because all these groups you're talking about, it frees up a lot of the leaders. Frees up you, frees up Jen, different ones. We always have to come and pick up basically have to pick it up. Okay, no one else did it, we have to do it. So if these people come in involved, there's a lot of people who've been in for years, have nothing to offer, so to speak. If they
Well,
come
the
in,
problem is, it's not that they have nothing to offer.
like they have nothing to offer, maybe.
Not only that, it's not that people feel that way because it's not presented to them. There's the expectation is negative. They don't know you're allowed to participate. Does that make sense? And really, that's what happened. Oh, we got a group here, and so everybody's just kind of gawking. That's the membership model. That's really is a membership model. Oh, I'm gawking. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to just take a part of I'm just going to take my seat, pay my tithes, give my offering, what have you. You know. But we know that members pay, partners, we give. We give, and we give more. And you guys are partners. You know what it means to partner. There's a need in the church. Here's the money. Those are partners. Partners, whatever it is you need. I mean, the gentleman that came in here, he said, oh, you need a sign out there. He said, I'll pay for it. That's a guy that says, I want to partner with you. When somebody says, I'll pay for it, when Danny says, don't worry about it, PJ, I'll pay for it. When you guys say, oh, don't worry about it. When Joe, you say, don't worry about it, I'll pay for it. You're no longer saying, no, I'm not a member, I'm a partner here. And if I have to put in more than what is commanded from Scripture for me to do, it don't matter. I'm here to do God's work. I'm not here to, make money to get myself. We're here to partner with what God is doing. And I'm telling you, man. Am I going to tell you something that you already don't know? And I'm going to say this. I think this is going to make our church explode. And we're going to establish something here in Staten Island that's going to be very dynamic. And it's going to be felt. Am I right? What do you think? Yeah, like it? And it's got to happen quick. That's why I wanted you guys here. I need you guys to capture this. And I need you guys talking these kinds of talk. Spirit-led, passion-based, purpose-driven. These are our purposes. We generate expectations, create environments, set the atmosphere, provide an experience. Those are only 4. It's simple. It's simple. And which is good because I normally am not simple. So we know this is God. This is simple. It's only 4 purposes that we have here. And if we ask, what is the purpose for that action? Because there's only 4. We only, if you do something, Joe, what was the purpose for that? Oh, I'm generating expectation. Okay, great. What was the purpose for that, Vlad? Oh, I'm setting the atmosphere. Fantastic. What was the purpose for that? I'm creating the environment. Great, good. What are you doing? I'm about to provide an experience. Fantastic. Our small groups will provide experience, right? They're not necessary. They will provide environment. All of this stuff. Everything is purpose driven, and these are the 4 purposes. All right, for our church. Is that good? Does that help us? Would that help you do ministry? Yes. That'll help you do ministry, right? So let's all stand. Amen. Father, we are grateful